Howdy!
An officer's routine traffic stop quickly turns into an absolute nightmare.
Is there any reason why there would be a faint hint of weed coming out of your vehicle?
No, sir. Just black and mild. Probably black and mild smoke.
No, I know the difference between black and mild smoke and this and that.
I'm smoking a black and mild.
I understand. Just shut the
Park!
A 4-year-old girl asks her mum when she's going to die because she wants to see her Uncle Shane again. He was murdered while delivering pizzas, shot down by a 14-year-old who thought he'd get away with it. That same week in Florida, a deputy with 14 years on the force got dragged down a highway by a career criminal who figured he'd just drive off and disappear. Both of these guys believed they'd beat the system. But when they stood in front of a judge and heard their sentences, they realized they were dead wrong. This is how justice destroyed them. These aren't random acts of violence. They're calculated decisions made by people who thought they were smarter than everyone else. A traffic stop over window tint, a pizza delivery to an apartment complex, everyday moments that Americans go through without thinking twice. But for Deputy Aaron Blais and Shane Varnadore, those routine moments became life or death battles because two men decided the law didn't apply to them. One was a 38-year-old with 15 felony convictions who'd been beating the system for 27 years. The other was a 14-year-old kid who called himself Ray Da Shooter on Facebook and posted pictures with guns hours before he helped set a deadly trap. If you're into true crime stories like this, hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss the shocking cases we cover here. Because what happened on that Saturday morning in June 2019 in Seminole County, Florida, proves that even the most experienced cops can find themselves fighting for their lives in seconds. 38-year-old Rocky Rudolph Jr. from Apopka, and at first, everything was cool. Blais even joked with him about his name, telling Rudolph he had the best name I've seen in 14 years on the job. They were laughing, talking casually, while Blais measured the tint levels and checked his paperwork. But then, Blais caught a whiff of marijuana coming from inside the vehicle. He asked Rudolph about it. Rudolph denied having anything, claimed he was just smoking a black and mild cigar. Blais wasn't buying it. He asked Rudolph to turn the car off. That's when everything changed. What Blais didn't know was that the man sitting in front of him had 15 felony convictions, 8 misdemeanor convictions, and a criminal record going back to 1997. Rudolph had been arrested for possession of a weapon by a felon, high-speed fleeing, and he'd even been tried for murder with a firearm. This guy had been dodging serious prison time for 27 years.
Okay, so
I thought it went by the back one. I thought.
No. So as you can see, 3. What that means is only 3% of the outside ambient light is getting through your window. Okay, that's why they do that way. Do you have your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance? Living the dream.
I see you on the trail. Look like what the hell happened.
2513. This is the registration right here.
Okay.
It's saying it's I guess your birthday's probably on the 5th. Is it? Yeah. So ultimately it's technically expired.
Yeah.
But we don't cite for that. There's case law that says it goes to the end of the month.
Yeah.
So you need to get that changed.
Yeah, I was.
Right?
I'm doing this new project down here, that homeless community thing they doing.
Okay.
I'm building that there, working down there, building on that and stuff.
Mr. Rudolph,
Yes, sir.
is there any reason why there would be a faint of weed coming out of your vehicle? Do you smoke? Do you have any friends that smoke? Anything like that?
No, sir. Just black and mild. Probably black and mild smoke. Just black and mild.
No, I know the difference between black and mild smoke and this and that. Do you have any marijuana in the car?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there's no marijuana in the car at all? Okay.
In the morning.
All right. Can you do me a favor and just shut the car off for me?
Okay. What happened, sir?
Huh? Well, I smell marijuana, and you don't have a card, so I'm not. Listen. I'm not concerned with some personal use stuff, man. It doesn't even warrant my time.
Marijuana, black and mild. I'm smoking a black and mild.
Would you mind shutting the car off, please?
That's crazy, sir.
Blais reached into the car and grabbed the seatbelt, trying to get Rudolph to comply. Rudolph hit the gas. The Escalade took off with Blais still holding on, his body pressed against the side of the moving vehicle as it accelerated toward the interstate. The deputy pulled his gun and pointed it straight at Rudolph, yelling at him to stop the car. "Put your hands up! Put your hands up!" But Rudolph didn't stop. He grabbed the deputy's gun hand the entire time, making sure Blais couldn't pull away. Sheriff Dennis Lemmer later described it this way. Rudolph reaches toward the gun hand of Deputy Blais and actually holds him there and drives at least 100 yards, heading toward I-4 before Deputy Blais falls off the car and into the median. Blais finally lost his grip and slammed onto the pavement near the interstate entrance. Rudolph lost control of the Escalade, abandoned it on the side of the road, and ran into the woods on foot. He left everything behind, his SUV, his paperwork, and a stolen handgun that investigators would find inside the vehicle. It had been reported stolen out of Seminole County back in 2016. Within minutes, law enforcement agencies from across the region flooded the area near International Boulevard and Lake Mary. The Seminole County Sheriff's Office put out alerts warning residents to stay away from the area. They called Rudolph dangerous. Sheriff Lemmer told the media, "This was a very dangerous situation. Our deputy could have been killed." For 8 hours, deputies searched neighborhoods, checked cars, knocked on doors. Rudolph was bleeding from the gunshot wound to his leg, but he managed to stay hidden. Around 5 p.m. that afternoon, an off-duty officer from Belle Isle spotted something suspicious in a Longwood neighborhood. A car with someone inside who looked like they were trying to avoid being seen. The officer called it in. When deputies surrounded the vehicle, they found Rudolph sitting in the passenger seat. The driver was his daughter. She later told reporters she didn't ask questions when her dad called. "I know for a fact, if I was in the situation, I'd call my dad. He's coming no questions asked. So I didn't ask any questions," she said. Rudolph was taken to the hospital to get treated for the gunshot wound, then booked into the John E. Polk Correctional Facility. Blais went to the hospital too, got checked out, and was released the same day. But Rudolph wasn't the only one who thought he could escape justice that easily. Rudolph sat in the Seminole County Jail for nearly 5 years before his case finally went to trial in January 2024. The trial lasted 3 days, and Circuit Judge Melanie Chase presided over the case. Assistant State Attorneys Gino Feliciani and Jason Miller brought out the body camera footage and played it for the jury. They watched Blais get dragged down that highway, watched Rudolph grab the deputy's gun hand and refuse to let go. The evidence was right there on video. But Rudolph took the stand and told a completely different story. He testified that he was scared for his life. He said the deputy got too aggressive over a window tint violation and he panicked. His defense attorney backed him up, arguing that Rudolph was just reacting out of fear. But then the prosecutors dropped the hammer. They laid out Rudolph's entire criminal history in front of the jury. 15 felony convictions, 8 misdemeanors, 32 felony charges, and 22 misdemeanor charges going back to 1997. Feliciani told the court that Rudolph had at least 20 felony convictions on his record, and that the longest stretch of time that he went without committing a crime is this last stretch, because he's been in jail for 4.5 years.
We asked Seminole County Prosecutor Gino Feliciani his thoughts on the outcome.
Yeah, I think justice was served today. I think it sends a message to the community that you need to, watch what you're doing, and it also puts some value on law enforcement who risk their lives every day to protect the citizens of this community. And his criminal record that goes back to 1997. So he started committing crimes when he was a juvenile, continued until he was an adult. He's already gone to prison for at least 2 of the charges that he was found guilty of by the jury. It is not an excessive sentence. He could have gotten life in prison.
At sentencing, Rudolph's sister-in-law, Tyrenza Hamilton, stood up and begged the judge for mercy. He don't deserve 30 years. Clearly on the video, you can see he was in fear. Yeah, he did commit a crime, but he don't deserve 30 years for it. He has a disabled sister. His daddy is getting old. We need his help. We need him out here. Rudolph himself apologized. At this time, Your Honor, I just want to apologize for my unintentional actions. I didn't mean any harm to officer. After 4 hours of deliberation, they came back with a verdict. Not guilty on attempted murder, but guilty on attempted manslaughter, aggravated battery on a law enforcement officer, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, resisting an officer, fleeing and attempting to elude, attempting to deprive an officer of protection, and possession of cannabis. Judge Chase looked at Rudolph and said she felt it was the first time he was being truly remorseful. Then she sentenced him to 30 years in state prison. State Attorney Phil Archer released a statement afterward. I want to commend this jury for recognizing that attempting to avoid arrest by using violence toward an officer is always a crime. You won't avoid jail, you'll get more time in it. A lot more if someone gets hurt.
Apologize for my unintentional actions. I didn't mean any harm, to the officer, to say officer. My actions led me, to panic. I just like to apologize to him.
He don't deserve 30 years. And clearly on the video, you can see that he was in fear. Yeah, he did commit a crime, but he don't deserve 30 years for it. He done did almost 5 years in the county jail.
People over every single day for minor violations, and most of the time, nothing happens. But every once in a while, they walk up to a car, and the person behind the wheel decides the rules don't apply to them. That's when routine turns into survival. Rudolph tried to escape when he got caught. But some criminals don't wait to get caught. They set traps. They plan it out, make the call, and wait for someone innocent to show up so they can take what they want. That's exactly what happened on a rainy night in March 2016 in Gwinnett County, Georgia.
I wish I could give you more time than I can because I think you're a cold-blooded killer.
A 28-year-old Papa John's delivery driver named Shane Varnadore got a call for a pizza order. He had no idea it was fake. No idea that a 14-year-old kid was waiting in the darkness with a loaded gun. What would you do if you were the judge in this next case? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Because what happened that night didn't just take Shane's life. It destroyed his family and put a middle schooler behind bars for the rest of his life. Shane Varnadore was 28 years old, working as a delivery driver for Papa John's in Gwinnett County, Georgia. He was from Buford, and everyone who knew him said the same thing. He was a good guy, hard-working, peaceful. He loved playing music and designing video games in his free time.
Shane was just the nicest person you could ever want to meet. He was going to school to be a chiropractor. He just wanted to help people feel better.
His mother, Teresa, said he wouldn't kill a bug inside his own house. But the person Shane loved most in the world was his 4-year-old niece, Celeste. They were inseparable. She adored her Uncle Shane. On the night of March 1st, 2016, it was pouring rain. Around 10:38 p.m., someone using a prepaid track phone called Papa John's and ordered 2 regular pizzas, 2 dessert pizzas, pepperoncinis, garlic sauce, and soft drinks. The caller said his name was Josh and gave the address for apartment 10,108 at the Wesley Harrington Apartments in Lawrenceville. But Josh didn't live in apartment 10,108. The phone wasn't registered to anyone named Josh. It was a burner. The same phone called Papa John's 2 more times while they waited for the order. One call asked if the driver could break a $100 bill. Another call asked for an update on when the food would arrive. They wanted to make sure someone was coming. Shane's supervisor, Tristan Zeder, sent him out on the delivery just after 11:15 p.m. Shane grabbed the pizzas, got in his light green Toyota Prius, and drove into the rain. He had no idea what was waiting for him. Shane pulled into the Wesley Harrington Apartments around 11:15 p.m. The rain was still coming down hard. He parked his Prius, grabbed the pizzas from the thermal bag, and got out of the car. A man was sitting in a vehicle nearby, waiting for someone. he heard a single gunshot crack through the night air. Then he saw a man stumble forward and collapse into a parking space. When police arrived, they found Shane lying on the ground, unresponsive. He'd been shot once in the upper left abdomen. Officers checked his pockets. He still had $62 on him. Whoever did this didn't even finish the robbery. Paramedics rushed Shane to the hospital, but it was too late. He was pronounced dead. Near apartment 10,108, investigators found a Papa John's plastic bag and an empty thermal delivery bag. But the pizzas were gone. A few feet away, they recovered a spent .40 caliber Smith & Wesson shell casing. Detectives pulled the phone records from the track phone that had been used to order the pizzas. That same phone had been calling back and forth with another cell phone before and after the shooting. They traced the second phone to a 21-year-old named Jermaine Young. Then they checked Facebook. Young's profile was connected to two brothers who lived in apartment 9301, right next door to where the fake delivery address had been given. One of the brothers was 14-year-old Reginald Lofton. His Facebook name was Ray the Shooter. Hours before Shane was killed, Lofton had posted a picture of himself holding a .40 caliber handgun. The next day, just after 1 p.m., the Gwinnett County SWAT team showed up at apartment 9301 with a search warrant. Everyone inside was there: Lofton, Young, Lofton's older brother Malik Buckley, and two women who lived in the apartment. Before officers breached the door, one of the women saw Young carrying a box of pancake mix into the bedroom. Another woman saw Lofton trying to hide a pizza box under her bed. The search turned up everything: 3 Papa John's pizza boxes hidden behind a washing machine, another box on a nightstand, pieces of pizza wrapped in foil inside the refrigerator with more remnants in the trash, pepperoncinis and garlic sauce cups stuffed inside a bathroom vanity. And in the bedroom, Lofton shared with his brother, they found the prepaid track phone that had been used to order the pizzas. But the most damning evidence was inside those pancake mix boxes. One box contained a .40 caliber Smith & Wesson semi-automatic handgun. The other had an ammunition magazine. Lofton and Young were both arrested and taken to the police station. What happened in that interrogation room would reveal just how cold-blooded this really was. Detectives already knew who they were dealing with. Reginald Lofton's Facebook profile said it all: Ray the Shooter. Just hours before Shane was killed, Lofton had uploaded a photo of himself holding a .40 caliber handgun, the same caliber that killed Shane, the same gun they found hidden in the pancake mix box. At the police station, Lofton was read his Miranda rights and agreed to talk without a lawyer. The interrogation lasted about 2 hours, and his story kept changing. At first, he denied everything. Didn't know anything about a shooting, didn't order any pizzas, but as detectives kept pressing him, the story shifted. He admitted that Young was planning to rob the delivery driver, and yeah, he knew about it. But he said he didn't want to be involved. According to Lofton, he decided to sit it out and waited on the second floor near a staircase while Young went down to meet Shane. He claimed he heard the gunshot, panicked, and ran. But here's the problem with that story. 2 women who lived in the apartment told a completely different version. They said after they heard the gunshot, they came into the living room and found Young and Lofton's brother, Malik Buckley, already standing there. A few seconds later, Lofton walked through the door carrying 4 pizza boxes, not running, not panicking, just calmly walking in with the food like nothing happened. Malik Buckley backed up their story. He testified that Young woke him up after the shooting and told him he'd just hit a lick, slang for pulling off a robbery. Young said the pizza guy flinched, the gun went off, and he thought he shot him in the stomach or arm. Under Georgia's party to a crime law, it didn't matter who pulled the trigger. If you help plan a crime, if you provide the weapon, if you're there and involved, you're just as guilty as the person who fired the shot. Lofton's trial started on October 31st, 2016, just 7 months after Shane's murder. Even though Lofton was only 14 years old, he was charged as an adult. The charges were serious: malice murder, 2 counts of felony murder, armed robbery, and aggravated assault. Gwinnett County Superior Court Judge Randy Rich presided over the case. Prosecutors laid out the evidence piece by piece. The prepaid track phone found in Lofton's bedroom that was used to order the pizzas. The .40 caliber Smith & Wesson handgun hidden in the pancake mix box. The Papa John's pizza boxes stashed behind the washing machine. The Facebook photo Lofton posted hours before the murder, showing him holding a handgun of the same caliber that killed Shane. The jury saw it all. Lofton's defense attorney Leanne Chauncey didn't deny that her client messed up. She told the jury he was stupid to pick up the pizzas after the shooting, but she argued he didn't pull the trigger and never intended for anyone to die. She talked about his rough childhood in Chicago. His mother had been in a car accident that left her in a coma, and she never recovered. After she died, Lofton moved to Georgia to live with his older sister. Chauncey argued that he was just a kid who made a terrible mistake. The jury deliberated for about 4 hours. On November 4th, 2016, they came back with a verdict: not guilty on the malice murder charge, but guilty on 2 counts of felony murder, armed robbery, and aggravated assault. Lofton was 15 years old when he heard those words. On December 15th, 2016, the sentencing hearing took place. 4 members of Shane's family spoke. His sister, Tara, told the court about her 4-year-old daughter asking when she was going to die because she wanted to see Uncle Shane again. Shane's mother, Teresa, was too emotional to read her own statement. Someone else had to read it for her. In it, she wrote, "I feel destined to live a life unfulfilled, since part of me is now missing." Lofton's sister, Portia Porter, stood up and begged for mercy. "I believe that my brother deserves a second chance at life. Instead of throwing him under the jail cell, help him, counsel him, something." Then Lofton spoke. He didn't look at Shane's family. "I just want to say that I'm sorry for your loss, but I did not kill your son, and I wasn't the shooter. That's it, Judge." Judge Rich stared at him and said, "I wish I could give you more time than I can, because I think you're a cold-blooded killer. I hope you never get out of jail." He sentenced Lofton to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years. Lofton won't be eligible for release until he's about 45 years old. Jermaine Young, the 21-year-old co-defendant, got life in prison without the possibility of parole.
All right, thank y'all. The bailiff indicated that you have reached a verdict in the case.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And if my memory is accurate, you're juror number 22?
That's correct.
And you're the foreperson?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you want to stand and read the verdict?
We, the jury, find the defendant in the first count of malicious murder not guilty. We, the jury, find the defendant in the second count, felony murder, guilty. We, the jury, find the defendant in the third count, felony murder, guilty. We, the jury, find the defendant in the fourth count, armed robbery, guilty. And we, the jury, find the defendant in the fifth count, aggravated assault, guilty.
Did you sign and date the verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you could show it to the bailiff, we'll show it to the attorneys. You can have a seat. Thank you very much. Is there any exception as to the form of the verdict?
No.
Okay. Sorry about that. Is there anything before we release the jurors?
No, Judge, not for the state. No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, well, we will get you released momentarily, and we appreciate your service. These cases cannot be resolved without jurors that are willing to hear the cases and make the decision. So I think they do want to escort you as a group back down to jury assembly, and we appreciate your service. I do want to tell you that all the instructions I've previously given you are no longer in effect. You can talk about the case if you choose, and oftentimes the attorneys want to talk about the case too, because it helps them in their next trial. So feel free to talk about the case if you want to. If you don't want to, you want to go back to your life and get out of the courthouse, that's fine too. So it's totally up to you. But thank you very much again for your service, and we'll ask the bailiff to escort you down to jury assembly. All right, Mr. Lofton, the understanding that I have from the attorneys is we'll defer the sentencing for 60 days. Okay? All right, make sure you follow all the directions of the deputies.
Two completely different crimes. Two men who thought they were smarter than the system. Rocky Rudolph spent 27 years committing crimes and getting away with it. He thought one more escape would work. It didn't. One decision to hit the gas instead of turning off his car cost him 30 years in prison. Reginald Lofton was 14 years old with his entire life ahead of him. He threw it all away for 4 pizzas and $62 that he never even got. But the real victims in these cases aren't the criminals. Deputy Aaron Blais was nearly killed doing his job on a Saturday morning. Shane Varnadore was murdered while trying to make a living delivering food. Shane's 4-year-old niece still asks her mum when she's going to die, so she can see Uncle Shane. His mother says part of her is missing and will never come back. Deputy Blais has to live with the trauma of being dragged down a highway by a man who grabbed his gun and refused to let go. These stories aren't here for entertainment, they're warnings. No crime is worth it. Justice might take time, but it always shows up. And when it does, it doesn't just take offenders down. It destroys their families, the victims' families, and everyone in between. Rudolph and Lofton believed they'd walk away free. Instead, they'll spend the next 30 years or more behind bars. Choices don't just affect the person making them, they ruin lives.
I just want to say that I'm sorry for your loss, but I did not kill your son. And I wasn't a shooter. That's it, Judge.
I wish I could give you more time than I can, because I think you're a cold-blooded killer.
Deputy Aaron Blais survived, but he came within seconds of losing his life on that highway. Shane Varnadore didn't make it home. He was killed over pizzas he was trying to deliver. Rocky Rudolph is serving 30 years. Reginald Lofton got life in prison and won't be eligible for parole until he's 45. Jermaine Young will never see freedom again. 2 criminals thought they could beat the system. They were wrong. If you believe justice matters, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're exposing the cases that prove no one is above the law. And before you go, click that video on your screen. We've got another case where someone thought they were untouchable. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happened next. Shane's family will never get him back. Deputy Blais will carry those scars forever, but at least they got justice. These stories prove that no matter how smart someone thinks they are, and no matter how many times wrongdoing has slipped by unnoticed, the law will eventually catch up. Remember, every choice defines a life. Choose wisely.
He stabbed a young mother 9 times while her 3-year-old child was right there watching. When he was done, he picked up the phone and called 911 like he was reporting a broken pipe. She'd moved into that apartment just 8 days earlier, trying to start fresh. Already rolling when another call comes through, and this one's different. A male voice, calm in a way that doesn't match what he's saying. "I stabbed my expletive. It's Tyreek Black." He's calling from inside the apartment, and he's not asking for help. He's just stating it, like he's reporting what he had for breakfast. Dispatch keeps him on the line while patrol units floor it toward Fox and Woods. Lights flashing, trying to get there before this gets worse than it already is.